On Women's Day, the company issued a health examination card. I gave it to my mom, asking her to undergo a comprehensive checkup. Little did I know, a series of bad news followed. First, there were suspicions of stomach cancer, then a confirmed diagnosis. After visiting several hospitals, the conclusion became more absolute: bone metastasis, lymphatic metastasis, surgery was no longer necessary. Faced with such an unacceptable turn of events, we initially thought of keeping it from her, but soon realized that she understood it even better than we did. No possibility of keeping it a secret. The only thing we could do was to fulfill as many of her unrealized wishes as possible, treating each day as if it were her last. But, how heart-wrenching is this? Knowing that cancer cells are wreaking havoc in her body, we can only watch helplessly as they swiftly devour our beloved mother. She's just in her early 60s. The thought often brings my sister and me to tears. We're even afraid to go home, afraid to witness Mom's helplessness in the face of the illness. In those days, we were on the verge of collapse. Yet, it was Mom who, despite being powerless, saved us. On that weekend, the whole family sat around the dining table, each with their own concerns, creating a somewhat tense atmosphere. At this moment, Mom spoke up. "Since everyone is here today, I want to discuss something with you." As soon as Mom spoke, our tears couldn't be controlled. Regardless of what she was about to discuss, we were ready to comply with her every word. "I don't want to sit and wait for death. I want to undergo surgery. Maybe a miracle will happen, but I know it will cost a lot of money, and you will all have to endure hardship." We weren't afraid of hardship, we were only afraid of missing the chance to show filial piety. So, when Mom mentioned the need for surgery, we felt an almost overwhelming sense of relief. My sister and I, both earning high salaries in the hundreds of thousands, not only had the ability now, but even if it meant sacrificing everything, we would spare no effort to save Mom. Over the years, we've been striving for success. When we finally achieved something, Mom fell seriously ill. If our success doesn't include her, it's hard to find joy in it. My sister said, every morning, driving to the company, looking at the bustling crowd on the street, thinking that I'm about to lose my mother, I'm about to become a child without a mother, my heart is filled with sadness. And me, isn't it the same? When I see my daughter clinging to my wife, sweetly calling her Mom, my tears come unexpectedly. I'm about to lose my mother. Helplessly watching Mom leave us, this cruel reality is the greatest sense of powerlessness and torment. Fortunately, my sister and I now have the ability to treat Mom's illness. So, when Mom proposed the idea of surgery, we almost instantly agreed, without much thought. Science tells us that surgery is almost meaningless for Mom, but emotionally, for us, we need to make some efforts for her, not just wait for her to die. Next, my sister and I pulled every string to get Mom a meaningless surgery. We took all the unused annual leave from these years, as if the world was falling apart, and we had no connection to it. During this time, our lives revolved around our mother. In fact, the surgery gave us a little surprise. A third of Mom's stomach was removed, and when she woke up, the first thing she said to us was, the surgery was really necessary. At least, it's not as painful now, and suddenly, I feel like eating everything. Mom's words greatly encouraged us. Isn't that what many motivational books say? You may not necessarily win by striving, but you'll definitely lose if you give up. My sister and I believe that our strong and optimistic Mom will surely create a miracle. We want to be the creators of this miracle alongside her. On the third day after the surgery, Mom said, "I want to eat millet porridge." Mom's words were like a royal decree. My sister rushed to the supermarket, bought the most expensive millet, and then slowly cooked it over low heat at home. Standing by the pot, my sister stared intently at the boiling millet. It wasn't just a pot of nourishing porridge, it was the hope of our mother's recovery. At that moment, the phone rang, and Mom said, "Why hasn't the porridge arrived yet? Do you want to starve me?" When the porridge was ready, my sister rushed to the hospital. Faced with the steaming millet porridge, Mom only took 2 sips and said, "It's not as delicious as I imagined." Undeterred, my sister encouraged her, "Mom, just think about what you want to eat. As long as you can think of it, I can get it for you." In fact, from then on, Mom became very picky about food. She said she wanted to eat lamb dumplings. We busily made some and brought them to her, but as soon as she smelled the gamey odor, she vomited, and we quickly took it away. Mom then mentioned wanting to eat passion fruit that a relative brought from Guangxi a year ago, and it had to be fresh. My sister and I quickly contacted that relative, begging her to send a box. This time, Mom enjoyed it very much. The seriously ill mom became picky. The water for washing her face was either too cold or too hot, and the food was either too bland or too salty. Our words were either too light or too heavy. In short, our usually gentle and tolerant mother became very irrational. But we were happy to see her like this, caring about trivial matters. It indicated that she still had strength, that the flame of her life was still burning brightly. At night, I usually took the night shift. I would turn Mom over and moisten her dry lips with a cotton swab. I always forced myself not to sleep, guarding Mom to give her peace of mind. After 3 days, I began to feel physically exhausted. Cup after cup of coffee had no effect. Often, leaning by Mom's bedside, just as I closed my eyes, Mom would call me, Evan. I would startle awake, and Mom would say, Evan, keep an eye on me. I'm afraid if I fall asleep, I won't wake up again. After hearing Mom's words, I dared not doze off at night. If I was too tired, I would go to the corridor for a smoke. During that time, my cigarette addiction truly increased a lot. I cannot personally experience the pain of advanced gastric cancer, but I can sense it. Often, Mom is in such pain that she breaks out in a cold sweat. She even pleads with me, Evan, ask the doctor to give me a pain-relieving injection. Every time this happens, I extend my arm to Mom's side, telling her, Mom, be strong. If it's unbearable, just pinch me. It can help relieve the pain. Painkillers shouldn't be taken casually. Once you get addicted, it's hard to quit. My sister, watching my bruised arm, feels sorry for me and says, Brother, Mom doesn't have much time left. Even if she gets addicted, it doesn't matter. Let her suffer less. My sister is right, but Mom's willpower gives us great hope. No matter how excruciating the pain, she never asks for a pain-relieving injection again. When she's not in pain, Mom will gently touch the scars on my arm and shed tears. Watching Mom's tenderness towards me, my heart feels warm. I smile and say to her, these little injuries are nothing compared to the pain you endured giving birth to me. Mom, just think of it as a stumble while walking. At this moment, our laughter echoes in the hospital room. The feeling of happiness quickly occupies the entire chamber of my heart. In this world, I am still someone with a mother. About whether to undergo chemotherapy and radiation therapy, my sister and I decided to respect Mom's wishes. Unexpectedly, Mom's will to survive was incredibly strong. She said, to undergo treatment means there's still hope. If I don't, then there's truly no hope. We chose the most expensive chemotherapy drugs. However, no matter how costly, they were still medications. The reactions entering Mom's body, though considered mild, were a tremendous ordeal for her. I witnessed, in the later stages, Mom's body trembling when entering the chemotherapy room. My sister and I discussed stopping, and Dad also didn't want Mom to suffer. Surprisingly, Mom disagreed. She said, stopping means giving up. Then, all the suffering before will be in vain. At this moment, my fatigued sister accidentally fell down the stairs. Fortunately, it was just a sprained ankle. However, during those days, she couldn't go to the hospital, and we didn't dare to tell Mom. Even though my sister called Mom, saying she was on a business trip, Mom became emotionally distant, saying, I'm almost dying, and you still have the heart to go on a business trip. Do you know what it means to care for the elderly? If I take my last breath when you're not by my side, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. As a result, with her foot injury not fully healed, my sister pretended everything was fine and went to see Mom. Upon seeing her, Mom naturally scolded her, asking her to pour water or assist her to the bathroom. I couldn't bear to see my sister enduring immense pain, so I volunteered to do these tasks, but Mom insisted, she has to do it. She hasn't come for so many days. That day, when my sister went downstairs, I forcibly carried her on my back. Tears dropped one by one from my sister onto me, and she said, Brother, how has Mom changed? In the past, even if we had a minor ailment, she could tell without us saying anything. Now, with my leg injured like this, she doesn't even notice. I said, Sister, Mom is being tortured by the illness. In her lifetime, she deserves to be a bit willful. My words made my sister even sadder. She said, I was wrong. Now I finally understand what it means to be unfilial when a parent is seriously ill. I almost became an unfilial daughter. Moreover, Mom has only been sick for a few days. If Mom is no longer here one day, thinking about finding someone willingly to endure suffering, there won't be anyone. With this realization, my sister's care for Mom became almost like that of a professional nurse. When her annual leave ended, she continued to take time off. The company didn't approve, and she had a confrontation with the boss for the first time. "Then I'll resign." Her husband gently advised her, but she retorted, "If Mom passes away, what's the use of making more money?" After the second round of chemotherapy, we conducted a physical examination for Mom. The results revealed that while chemotherapy targeted cancer cells, it also inflicted damage on her healthy cells. The lingering illness persisted, and the doctor's conclusion was acute leukemia. This meant that even a minor fall could lead to uncontrollable bleeding for Mom. Her body had become as fragile as weathered glass. Such an outcome plunged both my sister and me into self-blame for our blind and frantic actions. Standing at the hospital's safety exit, we didn't know how to explain this to Mom. When we returned to the ward, Mom said, "Pack up, I want to go home." We were stunned. She continued, "I asked the doctor just now, if I continue treatment, it will only hasten my death. Let's go home, enjoy delicious food and spicy dishes. Maybe I can live a few more days." And so, we finally bid farewell to the hospital. Walking out of the ward, my sister and I felt a sense of relief. We had traversed the paths we needed to take. Mom was right, let's leave it to fate. After returning home, Mom's spirits were high. Every day, she contemplated what to eat, although she could only take a small bite of anything. Still, she kept us bustling with activity. One day, Mom suggested taking a family portrait. We understood her intentions and arranged for a photographer to come home. However, when the photos were taken, Mom was dissatisfied. She said it wasn't a family portrait, it looked more like a family mourning with everyone having a sad face, especially my sister and me, who looked worse when smiling than crying. Mom insisted on going to a professional studio for a reshoot, claiming they had better makeup and lighting. Despite the significant risk, we reluctantly went to the studio. The makeup and lighting were indeed excellent, but facing the camera, we couldn't help but think that this might be our last photo with our mother. Consequently, genuine smiles were hard to come by. However, Mom was lively, teaching us how to pose and urging us to say cheese with her. She individually posed with each of us, and her radiant smile didn't resemble that of someone about to depart. Mom passed away one evening. On that day, she insisted that we all go home, saying she wanted Dad to take care of her for the night. In fact, her condition was quite good that day, and none of us expected her departure. When we received Dad's call at 5 in the morning and rushed home, Mom had peacefully entered eternal sleep. Tearfully, we asked Dad, "Why didn't you call us back to accompany Mom on her final journey?" Dad's words left us in profound grief. In reality, from the first day she learned about her illness, Mom knew there was no hope for a cure. The reason she insisted on surgery and endured 2 rounds of chemotherapy despite the torment was simply to give my sister and me an opportunity to fulfill our filial duties. She said to Dad, "The children are doing well in their careers. If I leave like this, they will regret it and be emotionally distressed. I haven't experienced the good things in life, the advanced treatments that I couldn't undergo. I can't be a long-lived mother, but the least I can do is strive to leave no regrets in my children's lives." In the final moments of Mom's life, my sister and I witnessed her reluctance to part with life and her numerous rational and irrational requests. Behind our backs, in front of Dad, she often said, "Old man, I really don't want to persist, it's too hard to endure." In reality, as a patient, she understood her condition better than anyone else. She had found the doctor, confessing her intention for surgery and chemotherapy, not for the sake of living but to ensure that my sister and I, with all our efforts, dedication, and financial resources, would take care of her without regrets after she passed away. Even the attending doctor marveled at her thoughtful intentions. On the last night of Mom's life, her blood pressure dropped to a critical point, and Dad wanted to give her a shot to raise it. However, this time, she made her final request to Dad, "It's time to go, my old partner. Leaving now is just right. The children have done their best, and they have no regrets." Mom left, and in her departure, she gave us another profound revelation about maternal love, using her pain to fulfill our lives without regrets. Understanding life varies for each individual, but in our lives, there was a time when we, like Mom once took care of us, exerted all efforts to care for her. In the multiple roles of our lives, as children, we did not absent ourselves. To persist in love, to love with all our might, this was Mom's final, unforgettable, and eternal affection for us. My dear Mom, may you have a peaceful journey.